Now, let's move on. In 8 weeks, that's 62 days, by the way, we leave the European Union, and following the week's decision to suspend Parliament until 17 days before the deadline, could this make a no-deal scenario much more likely? Mark Francois, the MP and Deputy Chair of the ERG group who voted against Theresa May's deal 3 times, thinks it's now more likely, very likely, he says, that we will leave on Halloween.
I would say the odds of leaving at Halloween are now greater than 95%. I really do believe we are going to leave the European Union, and we have to do that in order to maintain the faith of our own people in the democratic process.
But if we do get no deal, is Kent ready? In a moment, we'll speak with Duncan Buchanan, Policy Director for England and Wales for the Road Haulage Association, and also Craig Mackinlay, Conservative MP for South Thanet. Let's start with you, Craig. What are you making of, firstly, the decision this week by your party leader to suspend Parliament?
Well, we've seen this week an awful lot of sort of false outrage, I would say. I mean, every year we have a recess for conference season. It happens all the time, and it was only a few years ago we didn't actually sit in September at all. That was put back in place in 2010 under the Cameron government. So what we've got is a prorogation, which is very normal. What we have been living through for the last 2.5 years is a very abnormal period. We've had the longest parliament for 350 years.
That is true. Craig, come on, Craig. You're an honourable man, Craig.
No, your title. We are losing 4 days of parliamentary time, and that's what all this outrage is about.
I get all the the chronology of it. I understand all of that, but this has been done for slightly different reasons, right?
Well, no, as I say, prorogation was long overdue. We've had the longest parliamentary session for 350 years. We need a new Queen's speech. We've got a new Prime Minister, a new team, a new executive. There's a lot of exciting new legislation on policing, on housing, and NHS. All this needs new laws. So
hand on heart, with every sinew of your political fibre, this is not in any way connected in shape or form or in any other circumstance to a potential no deal.
Well, we have seen in Parliament for the last year, 2 years, perhaps 3 years, but very, very significantly over the last few months. Whenever there is a bill brought forward, there's one that's sort of in progress at the moment, the Northern Ireland bill, to try and, while they haven't got Stormont and their assembly working to have normality functioning in Northern Ireland, you have got people across the House trying to attach baubles to the Christmas tree to stop a no-deal Brexit and all other manner of shenanigans going on.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, Ian, but what do these people want to do in 4 days that they haven't managed to do in 3 years? We're arguing about 4 days.
No, I get.
Really quite nonsensical.
All right, I understand your position on that, and of course others, as you point out there, do have a different view. But that's the backdrop of it all. Of course, let's assume, and Mr. Johnson has made it clear, there could be no deal. That's it's on the table, and that might be an outcome. What is your reading on this, Craig Mackinlay, as to what might happen for Kent? We are, after all, at the coalface of this story.
Well, I take a lot of comfort from Monsieur Poisson, who's the operator of Calais Port. He's assured us, he's been assuring us for many months that there is no reason why the Channel Port on their side shouldn't work properly. They're making full provision for it. It's fundamentally important for EU trade into the UK. So, this is a two-way street. They want to get their goods here. There's no way the strawberry grower in Spain, the salad grower in Spain, will want delays at the port of Calais for his very short-life goods. So, with political will and common sense, there's no reason why there should be any delays and why Kent should be affected at all.
Let's put some of that to Duncan Buchanan, who is Policy Director for England and Wales for the Road Haulage Association. Duncan, good morning to you. So the French have said everything's tickety-boo on their side. On this side, one assumes there are movements in place to ensure things are smooth. So everything should be absolutely fine if there's a no deal.
That's actually a misreading of the situation, and quite a serious and fundamental one. The change that is coming as a result of introducing customs and other border formalities is absolutely enormous for businesses. It's very easy to be dismissive of the amount of paperwork and the amount of change that businesses are going to have to do. The big problem we have is that even a small delay at one point in the supply chain will cause us very, very significant queues. We are expecting serious queues in Kent because of the additional checking to make sure that lorries are border ready. That will take time. Particularly early on, we will have lots of lorries turning up with incorrect paperwork, stuff that is incomplete, stuff that's not there. This will cause delays. And what we have to understand is that when Calais are saying that they're ready if everybody else in the supply chain has done absolutely everything else. And if you disregard the complete lack of customs clearance agents in the process. So it's actually, from a technical position of the port, he's actually correct. So that's not the whole supply chain.
Okay, Craig Mackinlay, I mean, that does make sense, doesn't it? It's all very well saying they are ready, but of course the supply chain doesn't rely on just one component. It means that all ducks have to be in a row, and if one is out of line or out of kilter, then the whole thing falls down.
No, I don't disagree with Duncan's analysis there. But what HMRC are doing right now, they're encouraging all VAT-registered businesses to take up authorised economic operator status, which is the internationally recognised quality mark, which is there to actually make sure that customs clearances are more friction-free or frictionless as they possibly can be. But we've heard these things before. I've been a chartered accountant for many years, and I remember when real-time information for payroll was brought in, when auto-enrolment was brought in for pensions, when money laundering regulations went up a step. Everybody thought the world was going to come to an end. I know I'm not one to encourage bureaucracy. Far from it. I want smaller government, things to be easier. But businesses will adapt. I've spoken to many businesses. They say, oh, yeah, it's going to be different. None of us like different, but we'll get used to it and we'll get over the hurdles.
Fair enough, Duncan, isn't it? Things change. It's sometimes a little uncomfortable. People have to find their way a bit, but eventually give it a few months and everything will run smoothly again.
Businesses will adapt. That will inevitably happen. They will adapt in a number of different ways. But I want to just challenge something about this AEO status and some of the other things around HMRC. HMRC's information for the traders dealing with new border requirements has been truly appalling. The information that is provided to traders has been incomplete and incoherent. Today, there are hundreds of thousands of traders who have no clear idea what their obligations are. The second thing is about AEO. AEO is a particular thing that works for specific types of businesses, larger businesses that are very well organised and are part of international supply chains. There are several hundred businesses in the UK that are AEO already. We're talking several hundred. We're talking about, in Germany, I think it's about 6,000 businesses that are AEO. We know that we, alone in the UK, have 250,000 businesses that are trading with the EU and doing no other international work at all. So it's that the scale of change is not just minor accounting things. This is fundamental to the very transactions of business. The way it's going to work for Europe by road is actually going to be more complicated for traders than if they were actually exporting to the United States or if they're exporting to China.
Why does that have to be the case? What's the reason behind that, Duncan?
The reason for that is because if you're running a physical system at a ro-ro port, a roll-on, roll-off port, such as Dover or the Channel Tunnel, you have to put in more controls and more paperwork, if you like, more bureaucracy in advance of the vehicle getting there so that the vehicle can arrive at the port, be processed super quick within 30 seconds or a minute more than is now, and then it can drive off and it's free to go because all the paperwork has been done in advance on both sides of the channel. And this is the key part. Normally, if you're sending something to China, you do the export bit here, it gets to China and someone does the import bit there. Okay. We're integrating these things together, and that's what makes it complex.
Duncan, on that point, thank you. Craig Mackinlay, thank you too. I wish we could have spoken for longer on that, but we, of course, I'm pretty sure in the next 62 days we'll revisit this.